I'm geeked as fuck. Hey, what? Hey, let's go. Hey, 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 get your
Yo, what's up, guys? My name is Life. That's LYPHE 3 underscores. Follow me on Instagram. So, today I kind of wanted to talk about what is my favorite, I'll say my favorite genre, to be honest. It's a subgenre. It's pretty underground. It's called trap metal. Now, I say trap metal. When I say trap metal, it's kind of, I'll use it as an umbrella term for this video, but trap metal is also something that is related to other subgenres of the trap and metal punk culture, such as Ragecore, or just Rage they call it for short, industrial, dark trap, punk trap, emo rap, death trap, death rap, rap metal. There's so many different styles associated with this that are not actually trap metal, but like I said, for the sake of this video, I will call them that, just because they're part of the same underground scene. They're part of the same competition. Now, why am I doing this video? Well, there's no information that I can really find on it. Like I'm pretty sure there's so many different styles of music, but most of at least the known ones, like hip hop, rock, R&B, pop. There's so many different things out there that have an origin. You can look up documentaries, you can look up articles, you can look up so many different things and find information on these and meanings of these different styles of music, but not necessarily for trap metal. Trap metal, like I said, there's so many different variants of it, and so many different artists, and so many different ways of doing the music, but so little information on where it started. The inception of it has been around since the 2010s. I can't really put a number on which year. It's earlier, but it's not 2010. It's later than that, but it's obviously much earlier than 2018, which this video is being filmed. Anyway, yeah, I just kind of want to make this informative video, so I'll talk about different things. So let's get to it. In this segment, I want to briefly talk about the popular artists such as Tekashi 6ix9ine and XXXTentacion. Zillakami, who's kind of on the rise. You may or may not have heard of him, but he's relatively popular. Ghostemane and his affiliated people, and the Suicide Boys, and they're affiliated with Ghostemane as well, but they're known on their own respectively. Now, some of these artists may, like I said earlier, may not be considered trap metal artists, but they're still in the trap metal scene, like 6ix9ine.
Came to the bar, the groove got bent. Big shit loud like the block got hit. Came out of jail, still hitting them licks. All for a bill, still flipping that wrist. One collab, they doing it for nothing. Wanna meet up, some gang, they.
Like stated earlier, he might not be referred to or thought of as a trap metal artist, but he does carry a lot of metal, screaming, and punk elements in his music. But you can find more about him. I'm not going to spend too much time on him or any of the artists here. You can check them out since they're famous. They have so many different sources of information. Next I want to talk about is XXXTentacion, the late great X. X died June 18th. He earlier this year, so he never really got to finish his legacy.
I like bitch, you was your mess, ayy. Can't keep my dick in my pants, ayy. My bitch don't love me no more, ayy. She kicked me out on life, bro, ayy. That bitch don't wanna be friends, ayy.
When it comes to trap metal, he's really known. Like I said, I won't spend too much time on him at all, but we'll talk more about him in the history section, but not here. Next artist I want to talk about is Zillakami. Zillakami now is more related to punk. He's more in the punk scene, more of a punk trap artist, but like I said, I still refer to him as a trap metal artist. And he's on the come up. He's pretty well known now. He's on the rise, getting famous as we speak.
You was happy till you against me. Yeah! Came to the conclusion that you're hiding from shit.
So yeah, I can't really talk too much about or show too much of his content, but yeah, he's a really known artist, really coming up. Big names. You can check out his interviews on No Jumper and everything. Next artist I want to talk about is Ghostemane. Now, I say Ghostemane, I also mean Puya, Fat Nick, and the rest of the crew.
I'm a young crowd, bitch. I wake up in the morning feeling like I'm Johnny. I'm a black magic fucking do a circle round me.
Ghostemane is closely affiliated with the Suicide Boys, and I'm pretty sure you've heard of them as well.
Chopper with chopper stay loaded. Bullet shells on your floor. Tryna get high, we got fire. I fucked up, he fucked up.
And then there's Scarlord, whose music is in the background, and he's also a really known artist too. So that's it for the popular artists. I didn't want to spend too much time, but now we'll talk about the history.
Kill me, kill me, kill me now. Kill me, kill me, kill me now. Kill me, kill me, kill me now. Come on, come on,
Alright, so the history of trap metal is hard to find because it's hard to define trap metal. My search for what is actually considered the history or origins was brief. Due to it being so new and the lack of information, I just found quite frustrating to say the least. My search led me to look up so many different sources. Few are hearsay and others are just plain vague. Narrowing my search through the actual origins, well, to find the actual origins of trap metal, just ended up with vague answers as well. The origins of trap metal boils down to 3 people. Space Ghost Perp, when he started Raider Clan, Bones, who's also a pretty known artist, and of course, like I mentioned previously, X. Though saying X was the first usually ends in backlash to fans of the underground scene. The trap metal scene seems to have started in Florida due to the trap metal music being linked to punk rap and emo rap, which the Florida scene was around the around 2013, 2014, 2015 up to now. Perp, his Raider Clan, and X are all from Florida, leaving Bones the only one to be from California. The earlier forms of trap metal are very different to what we call trap metal now. At first it was just using 140 beats per minute or BPM and a bunch of open hi-hats to give it more of a metal vibe to what was already trap music. Later, and what it is now, like the sound you hear in the background, is the screaming and distortion and stuttering kick patterns and dark melodies. Was what we associated with trap metal now. Space Ghost Perp, also known as Marcus Money Role, is a rapper from Miami, Florida. He would form Raider Clan, who would involve the likes of Sybyr, Wolf, Chris Travis, who would later work with Bones, Rel, and the now famous artist Denzel Curry, who would later work with X. Many attribute SGP to being first to make the music of what is now the underground trap punk or trap metal scene. Though he is not ever mentioned as a trap metal artist or even a punk artist when the topic comes up. Him and Raider Clan at the time of 2008 and 2009 were the first to popularize an unconventional means of making hip-hop music with the fusion of metal undertones, punk undertones, and a general mixing of the styles. His song Black God is widely known as being the first punk trap song, though it may not sound like modern trap metal, as it is still regarded as such because of the open hi-hats.
I got to have the world in my hands, I'm a god. I'm no longer a black man, Who be the god of black, that's me, SGP, mystical. Magic colors, my brothers on MTV.
As stated before, Black God doesn't really have any trademarks of the trap metal that we have now. There's no distortion, there's no hard-hitting 808s, there's no, not really much notable metal tones. And honestly, it sounds more like a West Coast rap style, though being a Floridian, the style is still relative to punk, just punk fused with mostly a hip-hop undertone. This will sadly lead to bad blood in the underground community, starting with Raider Clan, as many members will leave, including Chris Travis, Xavier Wolf, Denzel Curry, and Smoke Perp himself. Even X, who will become great friends with Denzel Curry and collab with him, would have bad blood between Space Ghost Perp. Now this brings us to our next artist, who is deeply rooted in the underground.
Nothing else to do. Locked up in my room with some thoughts of you. What? Nothing else to lose. Shut my eyes, slit my wrists, take my life for you. I'm dying for your love. I'm waiting for your love.
Now what you're hearing is Bring Me to Life by Bones. It is accredited to being one of the first, if not the first, trap metal song. It contains screaming, distortion, and open hi-hat patterns. It is closer to what artists use today and relative to what trap metal and the affiliated genres are. It doesn't contain hard-hitting 808s, but that still doesn't take away from its metal sound. Bones, whose real name is Elmo Kennedy O'Connor, who first went by The Kid, would be renowned as one of the greatest underground artists. He would link up with the likes of Xavier Wolf and Chris Travis over the internet. They would later begin to collab on various music projects. Bones mainly stayed underground and was the pioneer of emo rap.
Just put me on the fortress. F Jiggy, I'm gorgeous. F Pretty, I'm gorgeous. Your favorite rappers' courses couldn't measure my importance. My mind is out in orbit, plus my ego got endorsement. Heard the people want that raw. Y'all be talking raw.
Say you got the buzz, but I never see you pay. Say you got the drugs, never see you slay. You say you in a game, but I never see you play. Say you going home, but nobody say you got the blood, never see you back. You say you got the drugs, but I never see you slack.
You say you win the game, but I get to see you black. You say you going home,
but nobody feel the same.
See you play. See you play. See you play. Bodies in the pain.
The video you just saw was Bones and A$AP Rocky performing Canal Street on Jimmy Kimmel Live. This is important to the underground community because this is the first time an underground artist would collab with somebody mainstream. It was a big moment. Sadly, A$AP Rocky and Bones probably will never collab again due to issues between each other, but as I said, this was a really big moment and it's something I really feel like I should have added into the list. I guess it's safe to say, without Bones, there wouldn't be any other trap metal artists. Raider Clan may have started the underground punk scene, but this style of rap, the way of fusing metal with trap, the way that Bones has done it, is unique. And this video, even this video wouldn't be made without Bones. So, as I said, it's incredibly important to have him in the video. Our next artist we're going to be talking about is someone that you're familiar with as well, and someone I'm really familiar with.
Hey!
X's song, Gnarly Bastard, is some of the earliest forms of what we know as trap metal, with its aggressive screaming and intense metal instruments. It uses light distortion, which is unconventional in rap when intentional, but it wouldn't be until his song Look At Me that I played earlier, and the song that made him famous, where he would utilize heavy distortions in both his vocals and his heavy 808s. This would single-handedly inspire most of the trap metal community. Some artists even mention it outright, like Kazari, from the Wolves of Society, whom after X's death made his song XXXTentacion Made My Career. Rest in paradise.
I feel dead and alive, it all feels the same. R.I.P. X, the legend changed my name. Broken, another legend died in the game. Misfit, another legend.
X will be one of the most controversial artists, merging grunge, industrial, and metal sounds in many of his songs. He was a large Slipknot and Papa Roach fan. X was widely known, so I don't feel the need to mention anything about his history. I just wanted to touch on his impact on trap metal, which is one of the biggest. If you want to learn more about X, there are tons of documentaries, articles, and even his wiki that you can look up in your own time. I think it's also important to mention that X was in a group called Members Only, which featured Kid Trunk, Ski Master Slump God, Craig Zen, and many other artists. These artists also teetered on the line of trap metal, but none like XXX himself.
Put your hands on what I can say. They all talk about doom, try to scrubbing me. Now no demon, but not from the circuit.
Later on in the history of trap metal, there was a group called Fallen Angels. It was made by Project and had people in it such as HK51 and Killybola, Brock Steezy, Hxnch, and many others. It didn't really last very long. The group eventually broke up, dispersing into two other collectives. The first one being Kill the Remaining, or KTR, and the second one being K9 Unit. The people from Fallen Angels that left that went to K9 Unit were Pulse, Killybola, Sudsy, and Goth. Fabi Dabi would be part of the group too. They were known to have quite a few rivalries with Kill the Remaining, or KTR. The Remaining consisted of Hxnch, Brock Steezy, Ghoulie, and many other artists, but Plurb started it. Project seems to have gone his own way from these collectives and became an independent artist. There's sadly not any more information I can bring up because they seem to keep it private. As far as the early history of trap metal goes, that's about all the information I can bring up. There are many other artists now, but this is all I have for the origins. The next section I'll be talking about my opinions and just my general thoughts on the whole thing. The one thing I love about trap metal is its variety. It seems to be something apparent in the modern subculture. Punk, emo, and goth culture merge into street, urban, and hip-hop culture. It's intriguing to me. It's almost as if white and black cultures mixed together and just found a way to blend. You have groups like Witch Cult with Tekken, Psy, Seven, and so many other amazing artists. You have Midnight Society with Kamiyata, Fuck It, Black Sand, and Young Bambi. You have the Big Brother Hxnch, Left Hand Luck, Ghoulie, and Brock Steezy over in Kill the Remaining. You have Pulse, Goth, and Killybola and K9. You have 1K Gang with Kane, Deathwish, and Bane. You have Wolves of Society with Kazari. You have Mortis. You have Crow Life. There's so many different groups. The various types of trap metal songs are overwhelming. You have somewhat lyrical and industrial songs.
Focus, I'm losing my shit. Rarely been sober, been geeking and shit. Niggas so records got come when they lift. My niggas not average, pull up in the pit.
You have raging metal type songs. And you have whatever this is.
My girl can clap that ass better than you fucking snap. It's fucking beautiful. I was raised to have these issues cause the media done seen a misuse of my mind.
Well, yikes. Anyway, just kidding. That video actually has a lot of good, it's actually really well, has a really good meaning. So, one thing, I'm not a big fan of the anime culture. Just to add in here real quick, the intro was anime simply because the anime music videos or AMVs are really big. on people that post trap metal videos, so that's gotta be in there. Another thing I wanted to put I'll say I don't like about the community is the aggression and violence that it promotes. I've never been a fan of that in music. I stand against it, but I just like, the aggressive tone. The aggressive tone and mood is fine. I love how it captures mood, but that I've never been with. And they often frequently use devilish or demonic symbology. Look, even if you aren't religious, understand the devil is not a good thing in any way, shape, or form. It's the source of all evil. The reason we have pain. So to pay homage to it is just something I wish the community could live without. You can be aggressive, you don't have to like God or anything, but I would just keep the devil, out of it. Another thing is this: there's too much hate towards their competitors. I get it's competition, yeah, but y'all still underground. My 2 cents is, either try to just work together and get along, and of course I understand we're human. Brothers even fight. But if you can't get along, just leave them alone. That's my thing. Try to make it out and try to do it, Try to be big and try to, make this a big thing, because this scene has so much potential. Everyone is so talented. I just love it. That's why I wanted to do this video. So this is my first video ever. Leave comments, leave your opinions and whatnot. I'm pretty sure I've got a lot of information wrong, so correct me on the information I got wrong as well. So you can call this a documentary. I'm not really gonna call it a documentary, but yeah. So stay tuned. I'll do other videos of other things. I have videos what I want to do of things that have no correlation to anything about music, So yeah, thanks for watching.